can tell you the movie sequels, franchises, reboots, remakes, whatever terms you want to use. The debate has started in the studio already. It's going to be quite an interesting one.
I think so.
Yes, so we are talking about, as I say, well, we said sequels, but really we're talking about the franchises, the continuation of franchises, movie remakes, movie reboots. Because 2012, I don't have the exact numbers actually, I should have looked that up, but it is a record year for re-releases and remakes and sequels at the cinema.
For example, what did you say?
Well, in 2012, yeah, Madagascar 3, The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, I'm really excited for The Dark Knight Rises.
The Hobbit. Men in Black 3. That's interesting. There's
Spider-Man.
The new Spider-Man.
There's an Avengers.
The Avengers. I think the Avengers part of the franchise, but I'm not excited because I haven't liked any of the Avengers films I've seen so far. They've been all right.
Captain America I thought was quite good. But.
They've been
I like the Hulk.
They've been watchable, but like I don't know. I think Spider-Man's going to be better.
Definitely.
Than that, yeah.
I believe I'm not sure if it is 2012.
The Dark Knight is just going to own them all.
But
no, it's July, I think.
What
The Dark Knight?
Oh yeah.
The Dark Knight's later this year. It's like end of this year.
Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Yeah.
Let's not.
There's a new Die Hard. I don't know if that's 2012 or 2013. No?
Oh, I'm excited about that.
Yes.
Sorry.
Everyone else in the studio is silent.
Madagascar 2 is just... No, 3 even.
Yeah.
Is all I can
Three.
remember.
But they're also re-releasing... The Lion King 3D has already been released. I think that was at the end of last year, wasn't it? But Beauty and the Beast, Finding Nemo, and I believe Monsters Inc. are all being re-released in 3D as well.
Nemo in 3D.
Titanic in 3D.
Titanic.
Yeah.
So a huge list of re-releases and
I'd totally go and see Finding Nemo in 3D.
Me too.
It'd be amazing.
But so we're going to look back at some older, well, they might be more recent, I don't know, but some of our favourite sequels and remakes, franchises. So we'll start on the left. So we'll start with Jodie. Would you like to name your worst or your favourite?
Okay, I kind of have like groups of sequels because for me, sometimes you can't just watch one film out of like a trilogy or something. You have to watch whole. Now, my favourite ever has got to be Back to the Future parts 1, 2 and 3 because they don't work without each other. So Back to the Future, definitely.
So that's on the favourites list.
That's on my favourites, yeah. Another on my favourites is Lord of the Rings. Yes, because I mean that's another one that you can't watch.
We were just saying this.
Individual films, can you?
Well, they've done it. Well, when they did it quite well. So I mean, if you did just watch the third one, it would be very difficult, but you might just get kind of a gist of what's going on because they have sort of.
Yeah, but I get all excited and I think, I'm going to have to watch Lord of the Rings, and whichever one I want to watch, I've got to watch all of them.
I always go.
Sometimes I don't have a spare 10 hours in my day.
I know. I haven't actually yet sat down and watched all 3 in one go. I will always watch, but my go-to is always the second one because that's my favourite.
Isn't there like versions of them which are like 4 hours long?
Yes, the extended editions. I have the second one.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I found it in Computer Exchange for like £4. I was so excited. So I got the extended edition of the second film. And I watched it, and it's so amazing. There's so much stuff they cut out. I mean, I know it's like 4 hours long, and it's on 2 discs, so it tells you to like flip over this. That's how long it is. But it completely changes characters because they had to cut out stuff. Like Boromir, who I hated in the first film, even though he saved Merry and Pippin and stuff, but he was a bit of a douchebag. They completely redeemed his character in the second extended edition. So I was like, I like him now. So yeah.
I was just starting to think, film 2012, Claudia Winkleman, you could be the next BBC presenter, and then you use the word douchebag. Not very BBC.
He's a bit of a twit. God, that sounded very middle class.
I'm not sure that's quite an American word either, but
douchebag is more American.
Well, it is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I seriously think I'm one of the very few people that just doesn't care about Lord of the Rings at all.
Who? What?
Like, I'm one of the few.
Oh, you? Yeah. Oh, I was like, who doesn't?
Stunned silence in the studio here.
No, I think that just beautiful films. The way they've made, the way they're made, the way they're done. It took something like 3 or 4 years of just solid filming, and they didn't film them in sequence. They filmed them all as one. So 1 minute they'd be filming bits in the first film, next minute they'd be filming bits in the third film. So that's why they look so good.
I think that's why you get the feeling, as Jodie says, that you can't just watch one. You have. It's a 9-hour film split into
split 3 parts. And of course, 2012, The Hobbit.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited. I actually read The Hobbit. I tried reading Lord of the Rings, but it was a little bit dense. But I actually got through The Hobbit, so I'm really excited for the film remake, even though I'm not a big fan of Martin Freeman.
He looks. I saw the advert though, and he just
He
fits
does look
perfectly.
like Bilbo, but I've never been a fan of him as an actor, so we'll see how that goes.
Interesting. Well, should we move on to some of the others and then come back to Jodie's absolute favourites and worst ones? Chloe, what have you got on your list?
Am I doing worst or best?
It's up to you.
I'm going to do worst first. Well, it's quite a recent film, Transformers 3.
Oh, it's awful.
I've never
So bad.
I've not been into the Transformers
Like,
at all.
the
so.
first one's really good. The second one was like, it's okay. And then the third one was just like, there was barely a storyline.
Just a lot of destroying of Chicago.
Yeah.
A lot of
just
Chicago got
blowing
messed up.
Stuff. And then Megan Fox wasn't even in it, so I just downgraded it by 50% anyway.
Didn't she get fired because she was really rude or something?
I think she left.
And
She
it's a
fell out
Michael.
with the director.
I mean, I know I'm going to be controversial, but it's a Michael Bay production, so it probably wasn't going to be the best.
No, I agree.
Mm.
And Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
This is a worst.
Worst.
Really?
Because they missed out everything from
It
the
is-
book.
It's
Like, everything.
completely
Out of
different.
all of the sequels, well, all of the franchise, why that one in particular?
Because that is the one that just blew my mind of how badly they missed stuff out and just changed it. Like,
Because
That
I
was ridiculous.
can't even remember reading the books, so when I saw the films, I'd completely forgotten most of the books. So I read them as soon as they first came out.
I went with someone that also reads them, and at the end of the film, we just sat there and we were like, "What have they done?"
Obviously they can't fit everything because the book's very
No.
long and things, but I think that one
That
is
one.
on my worst list as well.
They've just
Like-
missed out like huge things. Like they completely missed out Dumbledore's funeral. Like that just doesn't happen. And then,
just
And
don't
he
do that.
doesn't die properly.
no, he doesn't even
In
die.
the
They didn't even
film.
kill him properly. Like, oh, it's just annoying. I hate it.
Seems to be some agreement about that one. And maybe
Yeah.
if you're listening and you share the views of or disagree with the views of our studio guests, you can post on our
We have
Facebook
very
page.
strong views
Yes, well, that's
about
what
our
it's about.
sequels.
Should we move on to a couple from Ben and then we'll go back
Okay.
round?
Well, I'm gonna do best anything that is Toy Story based. To be honest, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Toy Story anything is the best thing ever.
So Ben, are you saying that 2 and 3 are better than the first one?
No, but because this was we're doing sequels and remakes. The first Toy Story is not a
Doesn't
not a
count.
remake or a
Yeah,
sequel,
that's-
is it?
No, you've picked that up
So,
on the
yeah.
technicality.
I have, yeah.
Very
Toy
rare.
Story was the first film I ever saw in cinema.
Oh.
Brilliant.
I think mine was The Lion King.
Mine was
Mine was The
101
Lion King.
Dalmatians.
The Lion King 2 is on my worst film.
Oh
No!
Yeah.
It's so good.
No, it's not.
But
it
The Lion
is.
King's just so incredible, and The Lion King 2 isn't.
Well, I think that's,
But what's not to love about floating on a thing down a river and singing "You Pendy"?
Singing you Fendi.
Well, I've got to say I've never done that in my life. But-
I have.
Oh, okay.
From experience.
Well,
Just don't down the Brayford.
well, once I've done it, I shall get back. I'll get
Report
over the
back.
next week.
Okay.
I will do that.
you see, maybe this is one of them times when, because the first film is so good, like
Yeah.
maybe Lion King 2 is not terrible,
I mean,
but it's
yeah.
not Lion
It's
King 1.
eclipsed
But
by the
Grogu's
first
in
one.
it, and he's so cute.
That is my main issue with it. Is that it isn't. I think I might have built it up too much
Yeah.
when I went to go see it.
Mm-hmm. It's like the Aladdin sequels as well. Like Aladdin 2, I remember that and just hating
Yeah.
it.
I hated Pocahontas too.
Oh,
John Smith wasn't even in it.
There wasn't.
Moved
There
on
was
to
a
another
Pocahontas
bloke
2.
for no reason.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they've rebooted most of the Disney films, but a friend actually made a really funny comment about like Cinderella 2, because obviously I think the original Cinderella was made quite a long time ago, like in like the 40s or 50s, and then they made a remake in like the early 2000s or like 90s, and my friend was like, ah yes, 60 years later she comes back from our honeymoon, and that made us laugh. So.
Well, we'll move back around to Jodie. So we had your favourites before, didn't we? So maybe your worst ones now?
I kind of had a bit of trouble thinking up some of the worst.
There's so many.
I know. And, you know, when I was doing a bit of research online, I found a lot of ones that had been, you know, listed as one of the worst movie sequels of all time. And I'm thinking, well, I quite like that. And sometimes I like the first one. And I'm like, well, I can't hate the second one too much if I really like the first one. But I think the thing that really, really surprises me, which has got to go down as one of the worst sequels ever, even though I haven't seen it, to be fair, is Dirty Dancing 2.
Yeah.
That's
Which I believe
universally,
went straight to...
like video or DVD
Yeah.
or
Which is, you know, crazy considering, you know, how popular Dirty Dancing is. It's kind of like, why did they even bother remaking it at all?
Well, they thought, I guess it's something you take. I mean, if you do make a sequel, unless you know, like, unless it's like a book sequel, you know, or remake of a book or something, you know, if you actually make a sequel of an original story, I guess you're taking quite a gamble.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what they did with Dirty Dancing too. They took the gamble and it just didn't work.
Titanic 2.
Yeah. How can you make Titanic 2?
Basically, they made another boat, sent it on the same voyage, and then again it crashed into an iceberg.
That
and
is
it sunk.
awful.
So
Really unlucky for the.
And it obviously can't be a very good film because I don't think most of us have ever heard of it by the looks on our
no.
faces. So.
No,
It
but
exists.
I have to say one of the other kind of more recent sequel of films, which again I haven't seen, but I really have no desire to see, even though they keep bringing out these films, is Twilight.
Yeah, no, awful. The first one's awful, the second
Agreed.
one's awful, the third one's awful, the fourth one is going to be awful.
I mean, my housemates absolutely love it, and they went to see the most recent one, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to come?" And I'm like, "No."
I've
And then
seen
when
them
it
just
came
because
out
I
on
think I
DVD,
have
and I
to.
was like, "No."
Like, I see them just like out of curiosity, but every time I'm like,
disappointed.
I hate
Or, they're just, I can't stand them. But then again, they're based on questionable, books that aren't that great either. So, yeah.
So that's a thumbs down from the American Dream Team for anything Twilight.
Thankfully, Lily isn't here, so she can't be the one going, "Oh, it's actually really good."
But I have to say, one of my other favourites, which I thought both films were absolutely brilliant, is Young Guns and Young Guns 2, which for any of you people who haven't seen them, definitely worth watching.
Shrugging the shoulders.
I mean, they're just a complete men fest. I mean, you've got Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, although, you know, he's a bit questionable now, but...
A bit.
What? Charlie Sheen is a
Kiefer
top chap.
Sutherland.
a top chap.
You know, in both films, Christian Slater, it's just absolutely brilliant, so funny. If you ever have the chance, you should definitely watch. But I have to say, I think Young Guns 2 is better than Young Guns 1.
Well, that's always a question. Sequels that are better than the
We
originals.
have a brief sort of addition from one of our many fans. Rob from Florida is wanting to know whether or not we're going to mention Grease 2.
Ah!
That is hideous. It's bad.
Yeah, but it had the guy from Emmerdale on it, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah,
That's
you
There was
know.
a guy from Emmerdale in Greece.
The only
Yes, Grease
original
2.
cast member in that film is the person that played Frenchie, I think.
Oh, yeah. I haven't. I must have seen it in passing. But
Michelle Pfeiffer was in it, and what's his name?
No idea.
But no, obviously, I think in
He
that
was the posh
case,
guy in Emmerdale.
Grease will be always
But,
better.
and another one, awful. Jaws 3. Wow.
Oh, it's quite a bit of
Jaws
Jaws 2,
2.
yeah.
Well, it's not that as bad. Jaws 3
Actually,
is
I've
terrible.
got one. It's a bit stupid, but I actually really enjoyed Bring It On 3. Hated Bring It On 2. Love Bring It On, but Bring It On 3 was quite good. You must see Bring It On.
It's gone over my head,
I
I'm
haven't
afraid.
seen the third one. It's in the first and the second.
Is
the
Bring
third
It
one.
On the cheerleader one?
Yeah.
Is the second one with Eliza Dushku?
No, the first one's with Eliza Dushku.
Oh, and the second one.
I've got no idea, but the third one had Hayden Panettiere in it, and there was some very, very
Oh.
ridiculous racial stereotypes in that
Wasn't
film.
Kirsten Dunst in that, or am I
Yeah.
getting
in the
confused?
first one, yeah.
Okay.
That was great. But this is the thing. Sequels can sometimes be
Yeah.
so bad that
They're
they're
good.
actually quite good.
Can
Yeah.
I just say my worst one ever is Spider-Man 3.
That's
Okay.
pretty bad.
That's even on the top worst movies ever made, not even sequels. Actual movies.
Or time.
But Chloe, you said you were getting quite excited about the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
so
but
even
I
though
heard
there's
they
been a really
improved
bad
it.
third one.
It's a reboot, not a sequel. So
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a
it's
reboot.
Okay.
not
It's like when
it's
a
not
new director
Spider-Man.
taking it on.
Yeah.
It's the Adventures of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and it's got Emma Stone in it as
Yes.
yes,
Very pro that.
very pro that as well, and Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. So an English guy is Spider-Man, but he's not English in it, but he's
Yeah.
an English actor. So it's it's pretty much the same story, but a complete reboot.
Reboot.
Yeah, I
I'd
like
say- Sorry.
Spider-Man 1's good, but
Well, we could have talked about that for a lot longer, and maybe we will on another show. But now we have to go to the Siren News. We will be back here on the American Dream Team very shortly with some birthdays and events this week in history, and then we'll be going live to New York to speak to Jessica Latshaw. See you in 10-15 minutes or so.